Hey everybody, welcome.
Welcome
to another episode of 10X Owners Live.
We are here to help business owners scale and grow.
Last year, I made $300,000.
And what did I tell you you're going to do this year?
$1.8 million.
Can't speak highly enough about him.
I love what you're saying, by the way. I've been taking some notes.
This is a great call tonight.
Brandon, what makes you qualified to be hosting a show called 10X Owners Live on a Tuesday night full of business owners?
I've been building and selling businesses for the past 25 years. As one of the youngest people to ever ring the opening bell of the American Stock Exchange, and then selling my last business for $151 million, 77 times EBITDA, to a $1 billion company, I partnered with Grant Cardone.
I love Brandon. Big hand for Brandon.
And we've created a business in 36 months using the exact principles we teach.
And every Tuesday night, the Cardone Ventures team comes on here to 10X Owners Live to help you. Grab your pen, paper, and get ready to take notes. This is your night, your chance to ask quality questions, to 10X your business, to achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals.
It's time to 10X.
This is 10X Owners Live.
Advantage.
All right, everybody.
Has been Brandon Dawson. Brandon, can you give yourself a short little intro?
Oh, I thought you were going to say a round of applause. I give myself a round of applause.
Oh,
there
we'd
you go.
love to give you a round
I
of
wasn't
applause.
supposed to be in the studio tonight. I was supposed to be in Las Vegas.
It's true.
But I woke up early this morning and decided I was going to stay here and get some work done.
And hang out with you guys.
And hang out with you guys because I haven't been on a 10X Owners Live show for some time now.
That's not true. You were on last week. You came in from Vegas last week.
Oh, I did?
Yes, you did.
See, I can't even remember. I'm traveling so much.
That's A-okay. I'm here to remind you of those types of things.
Hey, you know what we're going to talk about tonight? What are we talking about tonight? What is the main theme for tonight?
Well, first we were talking about why you're qualified to host a show called 10X Owners Live.
Well, the promo had it.
But the audio was a little off, so let's just do it for the people in the back,
Okay.
shall we?
I don't like talking about it anymore.
That's okay, because we're going to talk about it anyway. Brandon
right.
Dawson, why are you qualified?
I've
to have a
dedicated
show
the last
called
25,
10X
30
Owners Live?
years to helping entrepreneurs, business owners grow, scale, and create massive value in their business. I've acquired over 138 businesses in my career and raised over $500 million and sold my last business for 77 times EBITDA, $151 million. And then we grew a $1 billion public company to over $4.5 billion, deploying in 10 countries what we developed in the United States. So what we're doing now is we are simply taking every single thing we do every single day to build our business and help over 1.2 billion of business owners build their business. And we're breaking it down, showing you exactly the anatomy of starting, building, scaling, and growing a business. We launched Cardone Ventures 40 months ago. And think about it. If you go to August of last year, our second year in business, we did $3.8 million in revenue. August of 2020, we did just under $1 million of revenue. And the August before that, we did $250,000. So if you think of our growth, $250,000 to just under $1 million to $3.8 million. In August of this year, we did $10.4 million. And our run rate right now is about a $120 million company. We're approaching 188 employees in 3 different states. And we've launched 10 new businesses, one of which is our 10X Health business that we launched. And if you go to 10xhealthsystem.com, you'll see on the landing page the one and only Dana White, co-founder and president of the UFC. He is a huge advocate of our organization and what we've been able to do for his life. And that business will be easily We bought it in September of last year. Is doing $250,000 a month. But I was, as was Grant, a direct recipient of the quality of work they did. But they were trapped being founders, being entrepreneurs, being business owners, running around, trying to keep up with the demand. Small team of 6, had an unbelievable deliverable, had a life-changing product and service, but yet they were small with a huge mission. And I'd like you to think to yourself, how many business owners, there's 31.5 million small to mid-sized business owners under $100 million. How many business owners have a huge mission and yet they're trapped staying small? Because that same business did 3.5 million in September of this year. So from 250,000 to 3.5 million.
I think it would be interesting if we had our family here put in the chat a 10X if they feel like they are similar to this business, where if they just had the right tools, the right strategies, the right systems, their business has the opportunity, their mission has the opportunity to be 10 times greater in a year from now. If you resonate with that, put 10X in the chat, because we're curious to know if you're interested in doing that. If you're not interested in doing that, it might not be the right call for you. But if you do have this passion, you have this mission, you do have this thing inside you, you're like, wow, I deliver a remarkable service to my clients. I know that we extend things that our competitors would never extend, that we really care, that we're true to what our mission, what our vision, what our goals are in the organization, and we are better than our competitors. If you put a 10X in the chat, that means that, yeah, you have this mission, you have this opportunity in front of you, but maybe you don't have the right system, the right strategy to be able to break through where you're at right now to get to where you want to go. I love that. Look at all those 10Xs.
Yeah, let's go. And success leaves clues. This book, The 10X Rule, it talks about how to recalibrate your thinking so your action can follow your thoughts. Your law of attraction can happen with law of intention followed by law of action, and then you attract it. If you think small, you're going to get small results. This book, Sell or Be Sold. Just remember that in every conversation you have inside your own head, this isn't even a third party. This is inside your own head. Every conversation you're having with yourself, you're either selling yourself or you're being sold by what's going on around you. And then remember, when you communicate with other people, they're either selling you on their agenda or you're selling them on your agenda. Law of attraction happens with law of intention followed by law of attraction, and then law of attention followed by law of action, and then you attract it. If you're not always talking about where you're going and who you're going to be there with and the remarkable things you're going to do and the value that's created, if you're not selling that every single minute into the universe, it's because you haven't sold yourself that. So what you want to do is remember, what you think is what you say is what you do becomes your legacy. You have to protect your mind. Who's selling you? Are you being sold by the news right now? The fact we're in a recession, the economy, interest rates are going up, business is hard, you can't hire any good people, nobody wants your product or service, nobody wants to work for, it's all bullshit. Pick your target, sell yourself on it, and then sell the world around you. Nothing great happens if you're not obsessed with it. And today we're going to be talking about people, right?
That's right.
People. And so if you're not obsessed with the opportunity, and it doesn't mean you even have to like what you do. There are so many business owners that have created so much wealth for themselves and for the people who trusted and followed them and worked with them. They did it by doing things maybe they didn't even love doing, but they loved the impact of what they were doing. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what are you obsessed with? And then how do you get average people out of your life and accumulate people who have a deep desire to succeed, and then be the example to them so they understand how to do it, because everyone needs an example. Model, mimic, and mastery is the fastest way to success. Who are you being an example to? Then if you're struggling in business, we have the emergency business response. This was written by a very charming very intelligent.
Oh.
I wrote
Wonderful.
this book. Okay.
Wonderful.
So look. Okay.
Spectacular.
So this is the emergency
10X.
business response.
Phenomenal.
If you're struggling in business or you don't want to struggle, read this book. It'll tell you how to build a book without struggle. And then on top of it,
it'll tell you how to build a business without struggle.
yeah.
You
What'd
said
I
a
say?
book.
A book. Yeah.
It might help you do that
It's
too.
actually a struggle.
If your
building
business
a
is
book.
in the book business, could help you.
And then there's this amazing book, Teamwork, which was written by my stunningly gorgeous wife of exactly 1 year yesterday.
1 year and 1 day.
Took me 7 years to convince her. But the point is,
Waited a long time.
see, I was always selling her.
It's true.
It just took her a while to be sold. So here's the thing. What we're going to be talking about tonight is we're going to be talking about the most important equation in business. Being obsessed or being average, getting rid of people who just want to be average and accumulating people who are obsessed with their personal, professional, and financial goals because you're obsessed with your personal, professional, financial goals and you can be an example to other people.
And one of the ways that we do this, I like how you're tying in all of these concepts because for our organization and for many of your organizations, it's your responsibility to be the person who is 10X in your environment. You're the one who has to be obsessed with the business. You have to obsess over your customer. You have to obsess over your team and the experiences that you're creating. But how do you transfer that same level of intensity to your team members developing so that they're keeping up with you, so that they have clarity on what their blind spots are? You might not have, you really have us in many cases for us to say hey, wait a second, this leadership principle and philosophy, you're not executing, or hey, these business strategies, you're not implementing or thinking with them. And we do a great job of pointing out leaders' lids, but inside your environment, your team members are actually looking at you to do that. And if you're unhappy with your team, if you feel like you're constantly pulling them and dragging them alongside you and they're still not delivering at the level that they should be or that you would like them to, I would highly recommend reviewing what your performance review process is, because it can feel corporate-y and it can feel too structured and it can feel like a lot of fluff. Or you can have difficult conversations, you can have coaching conversations, you can have blind spot conversations because you've gotten the permission from your team members to say, I need you to push me and I want you to push me as a coach. And so this performance review process that we implement here at Cardone Ventures is all about having radical transparency about what somebody's blind spots are, because we are all here under the premise that we're wanting to grow and there are things that are stopping us from getting to where we want to be. And so we have to identify those things, develop those things, have readings and books and spend dedicated time working on those things. You guys are doing that tonight. None of you have to be here. We're not paying you. You're not on the clock to learn information and to sit here for an hour. You're here because you are already doing this. But again, this performance review process is allowing your team members to have that same environment inside your culture. So I know our team has put together this awesome worksheet. If they want to pull up the QR code or the link for you guys to get yours, now would be the time to do that. Oh, there it is. Develop your 10X team, grow your business, download the worksheet here. For those of you on a device, you can scan that QR code. We will also be putting that link in the chat for you guys so that you can download the worksheet, because we want to give you the do's and the don'ts of a performance review process. Now, at our People Essentials workshop, which is happening this Saturday, this Sunday, that's actually an image of People Essentials right there. You can see that workshop right there is being hosted. Is happening this Saturday and Sunday. And at People Essentials workshop, we dive so deep into different elements of this process, different elements of the entire employee life cycle, from recruiting to training to onboarding. And then the performance review piece is an important piece, although it's one section. It's one section of 2 days. So if you found value over the last 4 weeks of going through people content and you're finding value tonight, you can only imagine what you would get with dedicated time, dedicated energy around your business to figure out how to manipulate these tools and processes to allow your business to grow and scale. So that is happening. This is your last chance to get a People Essentials ticket or to send somebody in your organization to People Essentials because it is happening this weekend. These are my favorite weekends, are People Essentials weekends.
Yeah, I mean, look, the number in the top 3 complaints of why businesses go out of business.
Let's hear them.
Is they say, 1, no demand for product or service. Number 2, complaint, can't find any good people.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you, no good person's going to work for a crappy business owner.
Normally you say a shitty business owner.
I know, but we're on live. I mean, someone might have a child in their lap. I'm trying to become a bit more aware of my surroundings. So I didn't want to use the word shitty on a live call
1 year of
in
marriage.
case someone's kids were in the room.
1 year of marriage
making
and
me a
you're
better
becoming
person.
more aware of your surroundings. That's beautiful.
Only took you a year.
Only took me 7.
You know, I forgot last week when we finished the call. Now I'm remembering.
Oh.
There was an awkward moment last week when I jumped on and talked, and I said, "Okay, babe, I'll see you later," and I left. And I realized we never told the viewers that we were actually married.
Minor detail.
So,
I
anyway.
hope everybody knows at this point. Since we're talking about this, it always irritates me as well that you like open these conversations by saying, "My beautiful wife," instead of like
The president of the company who makes everything work.
Exactly. Like
You
I
know,
don't know why.
you know,
I don't know why you
priorities,
lead
like-
out with.
Because I'm so proud that you're my wife. I mean, I'm
But you could
equally
just-
proud you're the president of the company and
But
you
like,
crush it and you do all this
could we
amazing
role play?
stuff.
I think they would really love to see this. Could we role play what
Put
that
a yes
would?
in the chat if you want to watch this
If
role
you
play.
if you want to watch a role play about how you fix behavior, this is how you fix
this ought to be good.
behavior. You ask for something different, right? Like first you have to acknowledge, you have to ask for something different, and then you ask the behavior to actually be presented in front of you so you can correct it if it's wrong. And then if you don't have to correct it, then we're just gonna have the behavior be expected in the future. And it's this beautiful thing that takes place. So you want to try to reintroduce
Is
me?
this what you do with employees? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 10X Owners Live, where we are being led by the president of this organization, Mrs. Natalie Dawson, and her remarkable, amazing, highly attractive husband, Brandon Dawson.
Okay, we need to work this out over dinner. Well, we have an agenda. We'll add this to our dinner agenda list. Anywho,
Now, by the way, if you're new to this show and you're like, what are these clowns doing? The first thing is this. Most business owners are unhappy in their business. They take themselves and the business too serious, and they don't know how to have fun. Now, trust me, that doesn't mean that you ignore that you have to have discipline and accountability and results in the business, but we love working together, and we give each other a little jabs here or there. We definitely support each other, and we respect the hell out of each other. So look, at the end of the day, business can be both fun and it can be challenging. It doesn't just have to be challenging.
that's true. If we weren't able to have open dialogue about stuff like this, I think we would really struggle because everything would feel heavy and serious. So for those of you who are in a period of time that feels heavy and serious, we are huge proponents of humor. We also don't let things just like fester. Like I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, I'm so frustrated that he says this and this is how he introduces me. Like I don't let that stuff linger. I just am very
realized I need to
honest.
build an empire book with Elena Cardone, because she's the one that talks about
The queen.
The queen talks about partnerships in business and how to manage not only your partnerships at home, but it spills directly over to the partnerships that you would have in business, because your job is to be the best partner of somebody else.
So true. And
you
speaking of direct feedback,
Yeah,
I
let's
like
go.
how this just perfectly ties out to the performance review process. You
That's
like
why I
that?
segued it
That was
right into
such a
it
great
for you.
segue. Can I get a high five on that one? That
maybe
was
I know where we're going. I don't get lost on the way
that's true.
every day.
You're right. Okay, do's and don'ts for performance reviews. Let's do this. First one, you prep beforehand. This sounds very straightforward. However, I was interestingly looking up our previous performance reviews that Brandon and I have done with our executive teams and our leadership teams over the last few years, because we are in this season of doing performance reviews and getting prepared. And I definitively remember over these past few years, Brandon and I taking the time to review each team member and preparing, hey, what are strengths of this person so that we can highlight those strengths, but also where are the areas of opportunity? And so we get on the same page about what the feedback is going to be, because this isn't the meeting where you just show up and you're like, oh yeah, things are going great. Good job hitting your targets. It's been an awesome year. Even if all of those things are true, in our environment and in an environment that I would think you would want to duplicate, we are so honest about, yes, targets were hit, the job was done. But oftentimes, if you look at successful businesses, the success curve, somebody has success, the organization grows, and then there's this plateau. Well, the plateau happens because you don't do the things that you were doing when you had the success. When you had the success, you were being direct about what those areas of feedback were. Well, you cannot be direct with somebody about their annual performance if you're not really preparing what those notes and comments are. And when he and I go employee by employee for the performance reviews that we're doing, we're fully like digesting, okay, what happened in quarter one, what happened in quarter two, what happened in quarter three, so that we can properly prepare and ensure that these people are actually getting the information that they're looking for, because every one of your team members, if they are high performers, are looking for feedback from you. Let me repeat that. Every one of your team members, if they are high performers, are looking for feedback from you. It's your responsibility to prepare that feedback. If you think that they don't want feedback, or you think that it's not important, you're very incorrect, or you don't have high performers. Both of those things are issues. So in our performance review process, like, we are intentional about doing the prep work on the front end. Do you have something you want to add to that?
No, I just went to the emergency business response. With some of the challenges that are coming up, if you're lucky enough to have a bunch of employees, lucky enough to have a bunch of employees.
Are they lucky, or were they strategic?
Yeah, that's my point.
Okay.
If you're lucky enough to have a bunch of employees,
if you were strategic enough to have a bunch of
employees. Well, no, I mean, a lot of people hire people non-strategically. They just throw people at problems and they amass a bunch of employees. It's hiring without specific purpose. And most novice business owners go through those cycles before they learn they need to hire for a specific purpose. But I always,
that was a good,
this is what I do for a living.
That was a little BS, but that worked.
No,
it worked.
Most business owners put a 10x.
Don't pit them against us.
If you agree with me,
don't respond.
If you're a new business owner,
respond.
and see, I'm getting agreements and I haven't even asked the question,
Exactly.
so I already know I've got my backside covered.
They don't even know 10x could be on my side. You guys are just
just
playing the game.
Most people building a business are doing it through trial and error. So they hire people, they hope they work out. When they don't work out, they have to get rid of them, or worse, they let them sit on the payroll and they try to hire around them. And this goes on and on and on. And so doing these reviews, what Natalie's talking about is the more clear, more concise, more precise you are with what you're hiring for, what the contributions need to be, how you're going to hold your team accountable, and then how you're going to develop them. Because if your team's not on a development plan, then they might be good at the activities they're doing today, but as the business grows, they won't know how to grow with the business. So I was just looking at the emergency business response. When businesses are all of a sudden challenged and they have no choice, they have to get rid of people. There's a process that we talked about in the emergency business response, how to rank on operational effectiveness, leadership, and belief about what they can accomplish, what is attainable. And I was thinking to myself while you were talking, it'd be nice if people took the proactive side of this, of establishing high belief with their team members, establishing high operational effectiveness with their team members, and actually taught them the power of me, then we leadership, because they have a business owner who's putting their attention on those things and demonstrating to the employee how to do it.
Do you remember in our original core values, we're just going to take a step back in time for a quick second here. Our original core values in our performance review process were organized by which two core values were under belief, which two core values were under operational effectiveness, and which two were under leadership. So there's this cohesiveness between how you use core values to reward people or fire people through a performance review process, but also this idea of how are you creating belief, how are you driving operational effectiveness, and then what is the team member's leadership, so that all three of those criteria were always checked.
And look, people need to know where they stand. I mean, most business owners started their business because they didn't want to be told what to do. They didn't want a job. They didn't want to be accountable. They didn't want a cap on their earnings abilities. They didn't want somebody dictating their time. And now they've got employees and they treat the employees the way they wanted to be treated. It's called the entrepreneurial dilemma. So what Natalie's walking you through here is how to make sure that your team understands how to succeed and how to perform. And I would just encourage you, if you're a founder, an entrepreneur, or business owner, communicating directly with your team on what this looks like is going to solve so many problems that you either currently have or you will have in the future. And so I would just encourage you to download this worksheet. Could you pop that worksheet up again?
Oh, we're doing that again.
I just want to make sure that if they didn't download it.
Do's and don'ts are important. There it is.
There it is. Shoot that link.
This is the end of year performance review, do's and don'ts worksheet. I'd love to move to the next do. So this is a mistake that I think I know I've made, and one of the reasons we do these calls with you guys is to share with you things.
Thank you. You can take that down now, guys.
Things that do work and things that don't work. And I want to balance the feedback that I just gave you, which is do prep before these meetings and have spent time assessing your team member ahead of time, while also going to that meeting with an open mind. Because in times we have prepped before and we were dead set on giving a piece of feedback, and we weren't as open to what the team member was sharing with us in their process. And it can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes when you're looking at it from the vantage point as this didn't get done, and they're looking at the vantage point of, well, I thought you were going to help me be successful and I wasn't successful. So where is the give and take in the relationship? And there's accountability across the board for both parties. If something didn't get achieved, it is not just your team member's responsibility. Now, in some cases, your team member does hold more responsibility than you do, but don't just come saying, this is my feedback, this is the direction that it's taking, because there will be times where somebody has a different perspective and you are not going to know that without offering a vein of transparency in these meetings, and not just like using it as a thing to come down hard on somebody over a metric that wasn't achieved.
Can you put new if this is your first time watching the show? I'm just curious how many brand new people we have here, if anyone. We love it
there were some new people I saw. Hi, Will. Hi, Henry.
Yep.
Leandro. Ings. Omar.
Awesome. Welcome.
Shahira.
Welcome.
Mark, Michael.
Aaron Christensen.
John. Maria.
Man, we have some veterans on here. You know, we've got some people that have been through the works building their business. Aaron Christensen just made a joke on here, said not new. But yeah.
I also love that Dane just put in, you guys are at the right place.
Yeah. So, hey, let's pop Aaron Christensen. If he's got his camera on, let's pop Aaron Christensen on so that we can talk to him. Because he's been somebody, his business was a few million in size, and then we grew it to 8 million. Is he there?
Aaron.
Hey, brother, how are you, man?
What's going on, guys?
Good to see you.
You can't
or
see
hear
him.
you.
There we go.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm sitting in the I'm at the Amex Lounge here in Las Vegas, heading back up to Reno tonight. So.
Oh.
Cool. I just missed you. I almost came to Vegas today, and I decided to stay here, but it's good to see you.
I drove past the airport, and I was looking for that 10X bird, and I didn't see it. And I was like, I was going to text Brandon and be like, "Hey, you here? I'm going to come see you."
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen you.
Almost happened.
So look, Aaron, I mean, you're hearing us talk about the importance of people and the do's and don'ts in performance reviews. I mean, when we first started working together, how many employees did you guys have?
We were at that was a while ago. 30 something.
Yeah, and then within 2 years, how many did we get up to?
The highest we were up to was like 95, and we're sitting right about 83 right now.
And so you guys, we actually, when COVID hit and everybody else was running for the hills, we used this as an opportunity to go buy and double the size of the business. And we inherited that old business's old cultural issues. And this is where I was telling you guys, hey, the easy part's doing the deal. Now you got to get into somebody else's jacked up culture and fix it. And that's going to take some time. And I told you back then, it usually is anywhere from 12 to 18 months. How long has it been?
Yeah. It's funny you say that. And then just listening to you and Natalie talk and everything, because I pop on here, like for everybody that knows too, like I've been talking with Brandon and Natalie since, October of 2019. And I still get on 10X Owners Live, try to get every week, but sometimes it's more or less every week though. And just staying plugged in. But, it's having those people issues. We turned over every single person except for, we acquired about 50. There's only 4 left. and we've turned over those other, 46 employees probably 2 or 3 times. So everything that they're saying tonight, I sit here and I just listen and I go, it is so true. It is so true. It is so true. And the quicker you adapt to it, the quicker you will have success with it.
Saying you were at the very first People Essentials. The very first one was November of 2020. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yep.
And you think about it, but now you think about your skill set now of identifying people to hire, onboarding them, your tolerance level of the kind of BS you'll put up with, the accountability matrix you have in place. When you go through 150 people, you inherit 50, you go through 150 and you only end up with 4 originals, and now you have a great team in there. That's the work you got to put into a business as a business owner. And now you've got a thriving business versus the guy that had it before you. He bailed on it.
Exactly. And you get that, you develop that callous to it of not being so concerned with the individual themselves, because the individual themselves will tell you if they want to be involved in the business or not. Mm-hmm. And if they don't want to be involved in the business, they're going to make it pretty clear right off the bat. And then that's that callous of going, okay, well, you're not supporting the mission of the business. Go support somebody else's mission, but you're not going to support mine and bring everybody else down around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can learn it the hard way. Like he threw himself into the, it was different because the culture they had in their business, they grew it slowly and methodically, and they had a tight team. And just this whole expansion and dealing with all these other people, even your tight team that was tight, ended up loosening up in a few areas. And you realize that, the resilience needed to be able to hang in there and work through these issues versus bailing on it. You started with 3 or 4 partners. How many do you have now?
Just Brian and I.
Yeah.
And we'll have a really nice day next Monday. And I'll hop on Owners Live next week and I'll tell you exactly.
Yeah, we have some big news coming out, but I think that the resilience and just preparing yourself and fighting through it, and now you're going to be, and the other thing is that now you're not going to be afraid to go buy a 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, 50 million business, because you already know what you got to do to get it to where, and you're going to just be patient, but you're going to work methodically through the process.
Absolutely. And everything that you guys have taught me over the last, 2.5 years or 3 years almost now, it's been the amount of money that we've spent as an organization. It's just peanuts compared to where we're going and what we're doing. And the next 10 years, I'm looking forward to, even my eye is so far out of what we're able to do and how we're going to be able to get there and how fast we're going to be able to get there. And that's all to this 10X community, Cardone Ventures, Brandon, Grant, Natalie, the whole entire team. I owe everything of what we have going on right now to these guys, because I would not be where I'm sitting right now with the things that we have going on today, this week, and finishing out, going into next week. I wouldn't have it going on. It wouldn't be anywhere near the scale it's at if it wasn't for these guys. So,
and I can't wait for you to jump on next week.
Listen,
I can't wait for you to jump on
I'll
next
be here.
week.
So
let's go, brother. All right, man. One more week to go, brother.
Yeah.
Love you, man. Good to see you.
One more week. Love you guys. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
So cool to hear people that are winning, because you feel the energy. Put a 10X in the chat if you were like, the whole energy of the call just shifted from hearing his success story. And this is not what the news shares with you. This is not what you're likely hearing about on social media. Everything's doom and gloom, and yet there are business owners who are freaking crushing it. And why we love and respect Aaron so much is he shows up, he continues to show up, even though it's hard, even though it's challenging, and then he goes and he executes. And that really is such a differentiator between business owners who are successful versus business owners who aren't. They have the same strategies. We've had people show up and hear the same information, and one person create success and the other uses excuses for why they don't create success. When you hear more people who are having success, you start to believe more in yourself, and then you actually execute on these things, and it's amazing that it works. It's so crazy.
But it takes, I say this on my side, I need a partner like Aaron on his side, because see, when you have us and we have you, it really accelerates. But I can't be you and you can't be us. Mm-hmm. So collaboration We
That
talk
kind of sounded like
collaboration.
a song. Was that a song? Are you
don't-
going to break into song?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought you were going there.
Baby, you're not leaving us hanging on this worksheet, are you?
I would never.
As the president of Cardone Ventures, you should get through your work.
Well, if you didn't go off the script, I would be able to finish it, but Aaron was like the greatest addition to this call. Final item on this worksheet for the do's and don'ts around performance reviews is this idea of a development plan. So without going into like the full context, again, we spend 3 hours talking about this at People Essentials. But one thing after a performance review is it's great to have a 1 hour, once a year conversation about growth and development. But if something isn't really clear and actionable that somebody can work on week after week to trend towards where they want to go, they're going to show up the next year to that exact same meeting and they won't grow. You're going to be frustrated. They're going to be frustrated. They want to raise. You realize that they didn't add any additional value. And so this development plan of taking in their feedback, you giving them feedback, coming up with an organized plan that encompasses both their and your feedback to say, okay, over the next year, I'm going to commit to developing myself in these areas. Ideally, those areas are in alignment with where their goals are, right? They need to develop all of these skills, these new beliefs, this ability to operate and leadership skills so that they can hit their targets. If they're too low, then they're not going to hit their targets and then they're still going to expect stuff. If they're too high, then why aren't their goals higher? So putting this development plan in place is the biggest step that most organizations entirely miss. They have a 1 hour conversation and they think, oh, I've given my employee coaching. Well, that's not enough. Having this thing be visible, having a plan that you guys have communicated with each other around, you've gotten on the same page, and then you're moving into one-on-ones is how you actually create development and ascension inside your organization.
There's a question. Do the worksheet done in a group or individual meeting?
Individual meeting. So all performance related items should be in an individual meeting. Now, if you have separate groups who want similar things, like we have separate groups in our organization who have goals around fitness. So we created a Cardone Ventures workout club that gets them closer to that personal goal. Or I know we have a lot of people who want their project management certification, their PMP. And so we leverage the same materials so the organization doesn't have to pay 10 times over for this curriculum to allow all of our team members who are interested in getting their PMP certification, they can all access it. But I'm having those conversations and department heads are having those conversations individually. It's not as a group. Not a big fan of the whole group think thing.
That's the whole group thing.
Groupthink.
The whole group think tends to get sucked down by the people who want to be average. I think you can see that in politics and cities mismanaged and the government spending all this money and not knowing how to generate money and doing all sorts of stupid stuff all the time. Like groupthink is it can be a disastrous situation. What you want to do is be decisive think. You want to know where you're going. You want to know what your picture looks like. You want to be able to articulate what's in it for the people to help you. You want to know what you're willing to commit and invest into it. You want to know what the destination, where it is located. Because if you just tell people, hey, we're going to go get in our cars, your business is their roles. So think of your business as the streets, and you're like, everybody jump in your car and just take off and go find something to do. Like, it's not going to work. So you want to plan out the destination.
Can I read the definition of groupthink?
Yeah, go for it.
The practice of thinking or making decisions as a group in a way that discourages creativity or individual responsibility. Do you want to discourage individual responsibility? I want everybody to take as much responsibility for their work as I take for their work. Ultimately, this is why in the performance review, the second criteria is keep an open mind to the feedback that's given. Because yes, your team member might have underperformed all year long. They could have not hit their targets. You can be really frustrated that they didn't do all the things they said that they were going to do.
And what would the group say? The group think would say, oh, somebody set the targets too high.
Totally.
Oh, it's not fair. Oh, they expect too much out of us. Oh, the market, the economy turned down, so we shouldn't be expected to do it. The group think always looks for rationalization and justification for not hitting targets. The The remarkable thing, the accountable thing is we never move our targets, we increase activity. That's a Grant Cardone quote. So you don't want the group sitting around coming up with justification. You want somebody to lead the group in going out and smashing activity in order to hit targets.
And you want one person responsible for one thing. Like, you don't want a group responsible for something. You want one person, so I can go to Brandon, or Brandon can come to me, or I can go to Aaron and say, what happened with this specific thing? It's not Aaron and Brandon, it's one person. We could do a whole ops training around this, but I digress. Brandon, would you like to open it up for some questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's open it up for some questions. Team, how do we want to pick from our awesome people who have their hand raised right now?
Well, I can read the name Jonathan in the corner up there.
Oh,
How about we pick Jonathan?
great.
My glasses are not so good when I
Look up.
look up.
What's up, Jonathan?
Hey, Jonathan.
I don't think Jonathan has been unmuted yet, but we're working on it.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
great to hear you.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. I'm Jonathan with Champion Metal Supply, and we do metal manufacturing for commercial ag buildings, that kind of thing. And so I'm looking at hiring an accountant right now, and I was just using this opportunity to pick your brain a little bit on what are some metrics or KPIs that you would, just as a general rule, look for in an accountant person for an organization. And
Yeah, so are you looking to hire somebody to come in-house?
yes,
Okay, so are you looking for someone, how big is your business?
we're right at 8 million.
Okay, so you're kind of in that funny spot, right? Because you're big enough that just having a bookkeeper probably is going to be very quickly, if you're still growing, having a bookkeeper, you probably need to find yourself a controller. And so when you think of an accountant, you want them to do your books, you want them to be able to, so what all do you want your accountant to be able to do for you?
Well, bookkeeping as well. I mean, that would be the first thing I guess they would need to be doing is bookkeeping, but then also accounting type things as far as payroll and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you're at a level where you've got the compliance side of the business, you have the bookkeeping side of the business. Who's doing your bookkeeping now?
Well, I'm doing it myself still.
Wow. See, and how long did you?
Congratulations.
Yeah, how
You
long
have
did you
an
go to
$8
school?
million business.
How long did you go to school to be an accountant?
That's amazing.
0.
So I just want to impress upon everybody listening to this. This is you're at the top of Breakpoint 2, which is $8 million. That accounting discipline from an experienced person, at least coaching you specifically on how to do it, what platform to use, should have been incorporated in the middle of Breakpoint 1, which is $1.5 million, would have been the middle. Because by the time you get up to 8 million, congratulations, but you've been putting a lot of undue stress and resistance in your life, doing something that quite honestly is probably pulling you off of what your highest talent is. So you spending time in front of a computer, entering and paying is probably not the best use of your time versus going out and sitting in front of a client or developing somebody to get more business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm realizing at this point.
So look, I'm going to do you a huge favor. When's our next Finance Essentials?
In November.
What programs have you gone through of ours?
In December.
Well, I just got off your last Financial Essentials.
Oh, you did?
So in Arizona there. So
perfect. Okay, so you saw that having a finance person should also incorporate strategy. Somebody who can help. Are you platforming with us?
Yeah, we are. We're delivering in November. So.
Oh, you're delivering in November?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so.
So I'll connect with your
I would
business
strongly
account
suggest.
manager.
Yeah, I would strongly suggest that. Have you interviewed people and you're down to like 1 or 2 that you're really excited about?
No, see here, I'm just in the starting stages of this.
I would strongly suggest you get your platform delivered to you first.
Okay.
And then you work with our team on helping you figure out the exact profile with the correct competencies, with the right experiences. This is a major issue for businesses in Breakpoint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up, is they end up hiring people to do the stuff they know that should have been done yesterday, but they're not hiring people to do the stuff that you're going to have done tomorrow.
Right.
And so working with us, since you got the platform delivered, you're going to be able to see how big your business can be. You're going to be able to see what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. You're going to see where the low-hanging fruit is, and that will direct the quality of the type of person that you're going to want to hire for that role.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great.
I'll connect with your business account manager to ensure that we're also looking at that as we're completing the platform.
Yeah, I did ask him the similar questions, but he hasn't got back to me yet. But
yeah, well, we'll get back. We'll make sure he
today.
gets back to you. We got his review right here. I'm just kidding. But look, I see a bunch of people saying they're being delivered in November as well. That's very exciting. For those of you that are new, you're like, what's a platform? It's a 6-month process where we reverse engineer your business. We overlay the market opportunity. We overlay the competitive density. We overlay the perfect client avatar. We re-engineer your business through the break points from 100,000 to 125 million, wherever your market will allow you to grow to, with 2 expansion zones. And we put a very clear, concise strategy. It takes us 6 months, and we work very closely with the business owner while we do it. And for the people who are getting their deliveries to them in November, they're actually seeing what that integrated business strategy looks like.
Super cool. Look at all these
Super
clients
cool.
who are getting
I
their
know.
deliveries in
So
December
exciting.
and January, February. This is awesome.
It's really good.
All right. Let's bring on Paul Wilkie. Is it Wilkie? Wilk? Walk? There's a bunch of ways we could go
You
with
had it right
this.
the first time.
Dang it. Should have stopped there.
You should have just stopped there. You were perfect.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Fabulous.
Outstanding. I'm excited. I'm coming out to the People Essential. Well, I'm signed up for People Essential online, but I've decided that, you know what? My assistant loaded my calendar Friday. I'm like, forget it. I'm leaving.
Let's go.
I need to convert my ticket to get out there and see you guys. Brandon, you're going to partner with me in my flooring company, and we're going to take it wherever you can take me.
How big is it now?
We're between 750 and $1 million.
Yeah, good. We actually bought a flooring company with Oliver on the East Coast maybe 15 months ago. Mm-hmm. It was a struggling business owner that had had it for 20 years doing $5 million. And in our first year, we did 8. We're going to do almost 18, maybe 20 million this year. And we are always looking for people in the flooring business because we want to create a national flooring group.
I'm in Los Angeles. We've talked on a mentoring call a few weeks ago. I'm fired up. I really want to partner with you. I'll give you 49% of the business. I want just a little bit more meat in the bone just to keep hungry.
That's good. I'll take 49% as long as I'm the managing partner. I'm just kidding.
I need you to be the managing partner. I've done this for 40 years. I've hit break point 1 probably 10 times, and then it falls apart. Yeah. And I started with Grant in about February this year. 10X'd it, went crazy. All kinds of 10X problems right now because the massive actions I'm doing. And yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, this is why we designed, by the way, for people watching, this is why we have our 10X 360 program. So you can look at the whole business and understand the components that have to work together so you don't continue to repeat this cycle. So I'm excited to see you, Paul.
And that's why I'm coming out to People Essentials this weekend to get on that so I get the right staff. And then we're going to get into the 10X 360 because that was the advice you gave me in the mentoring call. And I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to buy in you as a partner.
Let's go.
I can do so much more giving you half my business than I could ever think of doing without you.
Collaboration is the new currency. It's the strongest kind.
Absolutely. And I'm committed 100%, whatever it takes.
That's awesome, man. It's awesome.
So thank you guys. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Yeah, good to see you. Look forward to seeing you.
Same here.
I just need to figure out how to transfer my ticket from the online to the.
Don't worry about it. The team's listening to you. They'll reach out to you. We'll get it done.
That's why I had my hand up. Thank you guys.
Right,
Get on to somebody else. Have a great evening.
Yeah, Aaron, can you make sure you reach out to Paul and ensure our events team is looped in? Excellent. All right, John Karpov. I think I'm going to stick with that one. We've tried this before. We're going to go with the first choice. Can we get John unmuted? Beautiful. it's going to happen.
Is he unmuting?
Oh, he's frozen.
I think. Yeah, you
John's
better
no longer moving.
go to the left side and go to Audrey. There you go.
Hi, Audrey.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can.
Hi.
Awesome. I have my AirPods in because Joel's in the other room and it's an echo.
Oh.
I want to thank you so much. We haven't gotten to People Essentials. It's next on the list. We have tickets. We went to New Hire. We've been following the process. And unfortunately, we let go of somebody yesterday and today, 2 people. But I have to tell you, the exit process is so much more peaceful and happy and positive than it used to be because of the hiring process. So following your guys' direction has been amazing. And I want to thank you so much. It makes exit interviews not a problem. And people give us positive feedback. It's just not the right person, right?
Yeah, but how long
and
did
we
it?
know that.
How long did it take you to figure out that you needed to exit them versus what you would have tolerated before?
15 to 20 days. It's amazing. It's so fast. Thank you.
Yeah, because most business owners, they hire people because they're desperate. And then what happens is they keep paying them and paying them and paying them, and they chew through their resources, so they can't hire a new person because they didn't set proper expectations. And we've hired some people here where within the first week and a half, we're like, this just wasn't a good fit. And you know what's crazy is when we sit down to talk to them, most people are like, yeah, you're right, it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah, they know.
It goes quick. We also like the first guy, I'm like, you're already looking for another job, weren't you? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, I could see that. Absolutely. So yeah. It's amazing though. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Exit interviews are never fun. They're never an exciting process. Guys, if you want to know what we're talking about, you're like, we moved to exit interviews and we're talking about this People Essentials thing. At People Essentials, it's the workshop that we do not very often. This is the last one that we have this year. We don't have one scheduled for next year. This is a time where we dive into your people strategy inside your business. So that is hiring, that is developing, that is retaining, that is onboarding, that is in some cases terminating and firing and going through an exit process, and how you do all of that doesn't feel icky. It doesn't feel like your palms need to sweat. As Audrey was just talking about, it's a smooth process. So when you think about your team and you take an assessment of how you're engaging with that team and how you feel about talking and confronting to that team, are there areas where you're not hitting KPIs? Are there areas where you're not hitting targets? Are there certain people that you know are not a long-term fit for the vision, but they're still on your payroll? If you don't know how to handle those situations in a logical way that is systematic, that doesn't make you feel icky about it, this People Essentials workshop is the system that we use to equip business owners to have these conversations, to be direct, to create the cultures that they want to have, not the cultures that they accidentally created. And so we have a People Essentials happening this weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona, although you can also attend virtually. We have an awesome, very cool virtual experience. This is the last time to be able to get these workshop tickets. So take advantage of this offer. Our sales team is in the chat now. You can message them or just in the chat say, I'm interested, and they will reach directly out to you so that you can get more information. We can get you signed up. Brandon, with that, would you like to?
Well, he's unfrozen now, John.
John, blink if you can hear us. Oh my gosh, you're moving. Hello.
Finally, I'm not sure what happened with my Zoom. I'm new to Grant Cardone and 10X. I actually had a chat with Brandon when we were at the last boot camp. I'm all excited. Question not related to People Essential and stuff. So you guys said you have a program for, I think, like 150 grand. But Brandon, you told me there is a program which you call an all-in. The next step up after the 150, after like the ongoing and reviewing the business is like a next step up.
Yeah, so, well, what you're referring to is I talked about the clients that have been with us, like Christensen, when he talked about for 3 years he's been working with us. We went back and looked at what all programs our best performing clients went through, how much they spent over the 3 years, And then we're saying, hey, if you just want to go on that journey, we can pull you forward and do it over 15 to 18 months with every one of the programs that you would need to go through, from the essentials programs, the execution programs, the 360 programs, the platforming program, the leadership program, all that. You should budget about $450,000 to $500,000 with Cardone U, and then if you've already gone through those programs, you would take them off the budget. And then I had some clients that said, all right, well, we've never done any of that. We just want to go all in and do it all. And so that's that all in package when you're like, my business is big enough. I want to put myself on a 15 to 18 month, very specific growth strategy. I want to develop myself. I want to develop the strategy for the business, and I want to move forward as fast as possible. That's what we call all in.
Cool. I'll be in it very, very soon.
Yeah, good.
We're starting off with you guys with finance essential leadership. I just signed up today for all the workshops you got. So hopefully everything's going to run well, and then we're going to be all in.
Yeah, good. Look forward to working with you and seeing you at the next one.
And I do see
we're going to explode.
Let's go. We're ready. I do see a comment from David in the chat about the venue for November Bootcamp. Would love to just touch on this super quickly. We are doing our very first Arizona Business Bootcamp. If our team can pull up this slide, it is going to be November 11th through 13th in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we are actively selling tickets to this event. We are actively excited about getting people who normally think of Miami as just not quite the place for them because of whatever reasons.
Yeah, this is we finally got the 10X Business Bootcamp on the West Coast. This will be the first time it's ever happened, and it's a live event on the West Coast. And it is different than the virtual boot camp. This is the 10X Business Boot Camp, first time ever live on the West Coast.
That's
We're
right.
very excited about bringing it to the West Coast.
Yes, and we are going to be getting event details out very shortly. So the location, we have a handful of things to run through with our venue. We are signing the contract tomorrow. It's an exciting venue, one that we're looking forward to sharing with you guys. And it's very much the Arizona West Coast version of boot camp. You guys are going to enjoy it. But our team will be reaching out to you as soon as that is confirmed, because, you know, we like to negotiate around here, and we're still negotiating a few things. But the event is definitely happening. We're excited about being able to host it. We can hardly wait to just West Coast eyes this business boot camp. With that, Brennan, is there anything you'd like to say to wrap up our favorite hour of the week?
Look, I just love spending time with all of you. I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody's questions. We definitely appreciate you guys joining us tonight. We hope that we are adding value to your life. You're definitely adding value to our life by being here. And I just can't wait. If you're new to this whole situation, I can't wait to develop a relationship and see where we can help each other mutually grow and create value in each other's business, personally, professionally, and financially.
That's right, guys. Can't wait to see you next Tuesday on 10X Owners Live.
This is 10X Owners Live.
Advantage.